Hi everybody, my name is Adam French. I'm absolutely delighted to be here tonight. I graduated in 2007, December of 2007, so hard to believe I'm actually coming up on 10 years since I walked out of these halls. But my current position, I work for the Indiana Department of Transportation's Office of Aviation. I'm the Chief Airport Inspector, which is a position that Dr. Allen is also alumni of. But my past, when I graduated from Indiana State in 07, my first job was with an airport consulting firm. I worked for a couple different engineering firms for about 7 years before I finally made the switch over to the state. So we'd be more than happy to touch a little bit more on my background and how I got to where I was here shortly.
So my name's Brandon Waldrop. I work for Advix, which is a manufacturer for brakes down in the Southern Industrial Park. Graduated here from a mechanical engineer technology degree, 2015 I believe it was, so haven't been out too long in the field. Probably a little bit different than everybody else. I transferred from doing maintenance to being an engineer, so I have 8 years of maintenance prior to becoming an engineer as well as working in that field. So my experience wasn't straight out of high school. Mine was working full-time and going to school and then pursuing a career. So.
My name is Mallory Hyde. I graduated in May of 2016. I graduated with an interior architecture degree, and I work in Carmel, Indiana at Mitch Design. We do multifamily and corporate workspaces, and I'm on the corporate team.
Hi everybody, my name is Devin Dean. I'm actually a graduate of May of 2008 in construction management, currently working for a dental support organization called Heartland Dental, based in Effingham, Illinois, about an hour west of here. We're the largest dental support organization in the country, and we're not nationally branded, so none of our practices actually say Heartland Dental. But I worked for a general contractor coming out of school, and 2 years later, through the decline of 2008 and 2009 of construction, ended up coming back closer to family and found Heartland, and have been there for almost 7 years now. So look forward to sharing some of my story with you guys.
Great. Hello, my name is Desiree Edwards. I graduated from ISU with a major in human resource development, 2 minors, Spanish language studies and business administration. I currently work for a minority-owned and operated professional services consulting firm out of Indianapolis. My company is called Brilliant. A lot of the services and solutions we provide to our clients are training, instructional design, project management, web development and learning development, systems analysis, and architecture. So a whole lot of everything.
I think what we'll do is we'll keep one of these down this end and one of them on the other end, so you don't have to feel like you're passing them so far down. So just keep one here. Now, we try to get student organizations involved with this event, and we were successful to some extent. But they are the ones that came up with the questions, and so they're going to be asking the questions. And we're going to start with the Construction Club. Would you introduce yourself?
My name is Dakota Atkins. I'm actually a junior here at Indiana State. I'm the president of the Construction Club. Now, I can't personally take credit for all the questions we came up with. I definitely did it as a tool for attendance the last time we met. We actually took a job site tour, and I was like, well, when we get attendance, you guys have to come up with a question for me. So the first question I get the honor of asking, I guess, is what helped prepare you for your careers, and include like some of the courses that helped, certificates you obtained, in the events and experiences you went to.
From my perspective, being from the construction field or major, some of the things that I thought about, looking back on what you just mentioned, I had gotten certificates in safety coming out of school. While I was actually in school doing internships, I interned here locally as a safety guy for one of the local contractors while I was still going to Indiana State. And I learned a lot through that, but I would encourage it, whether you're a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, get into internships as much as possible, as early as possible, because I didn't until I was a junior, and I kind of had a limited pool to pick from at that point. So start as early as possible with that. Get exposure from a construction perspective, plans and specs, design. It helps be able to talk some of the lingo and learn as you go, but just some general knowledge of plans and specs and CAD design. I know we were coming out with the CAD program when I graduated, so there wasn't a whole lot of content there, but it definitely helped set me up for better success when I got into the workforce. And then,
Could you talk a little more to that?
sorry. And then for one of the things that really helped me, we were talking before the event started, Dakota, we actually had one of the presentations that you guys are getting ready to go through, starting right now as a group to compete. We went down to Orlando, but involvement in the construction club really helped me, and there was a couple others that we really kind of helped lead the group to get established. But the construction club involvement really helped me get involved and connected through other classmates and some side jobs to really get exposure to doing some hands-on work as well.
So something that we have in the design program is that we would go to Chicago and visit different firms. So we'd have the opportunity to ask questions to professionals of what they do day in and day out. I felt that that was very beneficial to me because in design there are a lot of different facets, there are a lot of different specialties that you can kind of go towards. And I felt like that was that and my internship, and I did a lot of job shadowing too, kind of helped narrow down what I liked and what I didn't like. So I felt like that was really important and something I would suggest to everyone.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of what's already been mentioned, I think internships are a phenomenal tool, and the earlier you can get involved, the better I think you'll be. And to her point, I think understanding what you don't want to do is just as important as understanding what you do want to do, and that's really where an internship, I think, has tremendous value, is getting into something and being able to explore, always putting your best foot forward, even if you determine maybe it isn't for you. And that's really what your experience here during these 4 years is going to be about, is exploring what is available to you. Any opportunities that you can have, certainly dive into those. On the aviation side, I was able to partake in the flight team, which was a great opportunity to get out, meet other university students going through similar classes and things of that sort. As a matter of fact, the internship that I had with the Indiana Department of Transportation, I think is really the reason I have the job that I have today. I don't know that I would have fully known about it had I not had that experience. And quite frankly, I think it gave me the perspective to appreciate where I am today. I don't know that I would have had that otherwise if I didn't have that opportunity.
Okay, sure, let's have a question from you.
Hello, my name is Casey Connolly. I'm the Sherman Treasurer, which is the Society of Human Resource Management. And I love that you guys are all talking about internships, because the next question is, what advice do you have for students looking for internships, as far as maybe getting in the door?
Well, I think one of the best options you have, or things available, is to get involved in any type of clubs around, because those are really the opportunities that they're going to, a lot of companies and organizations that are looking for interns are going to solicit to organizations. Your professors here at school are obviously a tremendous resource and knowledge base for being able to find different organizations that are looking for interns.
Just to add on that, I don't think, landing an internship has any sort of special secret recipe, right? ISU has been telling you all these years to do these, few steps to get internships, and really they worked for me. I had 3 internships while I was at Indiana State. The first one I landed at Duke Energy because my dad was a manager there, so thanks, Father. But the second one I had was with GE Aviation, on 3rd Street here. And I got it because of networking. I built relationships with my fellow student colleagues. I built relationships with my professors, and they had contacts there, were able to speak on my behalf, on my skills, my abilities, my work ethic, and that's what really helped me land that role. And then my 3rd internship I had at Simonton Windows and Doors, which is right across the way in Paris, Illinois. And I simply went to the career fair here on campus and landed an internship. So, you know, just follow the steps ISU is giving you and you'll get there.
And I'll add to that as well, because I didn't have a very wide perspective of what options there were for construction. So one of the internships that I got involved with when I was at Indiana State was actually at Rapid Reproductions, which is a print shop here in town. And lo and behold, through being the delivery guy, starting out in a part-time job, I got connected to a lot of architects and contractors that we actually delivered paper and prints to through the print shop. And I would get to converse with them as they came in and really just connecting through that and any other networks you guys can. Don't be limited to just think about contractors. We were talking about that. There's a lot of other aspects of project management and construction management coming from a dental support organization that I didn't even think about when I was coming out of school, now working for one and being the largest developer of dental offices in the country. Don't narrow your view to just a small perspective, kind of think broader and like he was saying, what you want to do is great, but you also help figure out what you don't want to do as well.
I think Devin's a really good example of someone who, would you think if you're in construction to go network with a dental office? You know, or there's all kinds of opportunities to network with people who aren't really in the field that you think they're in, or who perhaps have a friend or colleague that they know is looking for someone just like you in a completely different field. So we have a new folks that just jockey. I know in the working world you don't always get a choice as to when you leave work. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Could you please introduce yourself and just briefly tell us your background?
Yes, my name is Kazemian Lowe. I graduated 2015, computer engineering, and a minor in automation and control and electrical engineering. I currently work with Matrix Technology, it's a system integrator in Indianapolis. We work in different industries from oil and gas to manufacturing. We pretty much build machines and we do system programming from high-level languages to PLCs and stuff like that. So it's been a great experience. I actually joined Matrix about 4 months ago. I used to work in Kentucky with the automotive company. So, but overall, it's been a great experience for me. Thank you.
And could you say your first name again? So
It's
I don't-
Kazim.
Kazim,
Yes.
okay. Just want to make sure I was pronouncing it correctly. We're basically just kind of asking questions. The student organizations are asking the questions and anybody can answer them. Not everybody will answer every question, so. So Females in Technology has our next question. We have about 10 questions, so we're going to move through them fairly rapidly. Females in Technology, there she is.
My name is Kendall Dayton. I'm a sophomore at Indiana State, and I am majoring in automotive engineering technology. My question is, when interviewing for your job, what question do you wish you would have asked during the interview process?
I'm going to steal this question. I do recruiting, so I know from an employer's perspective what what questions I'm looking for the applicants to ask, which is the same thing, right? The first question I'm always hoping that these job candidates ask is about culture, right? If somebody is willing to ask a question about culture, they're really trying to find a meaningful career that connects to their personal passions and sense of self. And that provides for a more engaged employee if they do join your team. The second question that I always look for candidates to ask is about how the specific job they're applying for relates to the strategic mission of the company. So that shows me that this candidate can think big picture, right? They can relate their everyday efforts to the ultimate strategic plan of the company. And somebody who's thinking that way is a real asset to your team.
I'll add a little bit to that. Those are great points, and I completely agree. That's one of the things, the culture specifically is a huge aspect of what we do at Heartland. And we kind of have a motto of open, positive, and flexible. And needless to say, those are vital parts of what our organization is about. And if people aren't on board with that, then frankly they aren't a fit for a company. No offense to them. But to work in our culture within Heartland that's adapting and changing and growing every day to continue to be the leader in dentistry, you have to have some of those characteristics. But some of the questions that came to mind to me, in addition to what she mentioned, was something that we have a high value on in continuing education, not only from the doctors and teams that we work with and support, but also what avenues can Heartland help me grow in, or whether it's a technical or leadership class. I've been fortunate and been through about 3 to 5 different leadership classes through Bell Leadership, based out of North Carolina, and I can tell you it's been some of the best personal growth and professional growth that's helped me get to where I am. But it doesn't come cheap. It's several thousands of dollars that the company invests in their people because they believe it's so vitally important to continue to grow and build yourself first.
So I would piggyback on his from the standpoint of, I didn't ask at the time when I hired in, about being able to pursue, additional degrees or whatnot, and if the company reimburses those, because it kind of gives you an idea, does the company support you going and getting a master's degree? Do we want to develop you and put the time and the money into it to make you an asset to keep here? Like say, once I got the job, I found out that, they did, they fully reimbursed. But to me, that was one on the front end that I would have liked to know going into the door. I think it could make a difference, if you get the same job offer, salary-wise, and you know that you want to go for a master's, maybe one company offers, full reimbursement and another company doesn't. It could make a difference, in my opinion.
Okay, construction club.
Yeah, I'm back up. Fun little question for you guys. If you had the chance to repeat the college experience, what would you do differently?
I can go. I thought this was really hard. This was a hard question. I think one thing that I would do a little differently is study abroad. I think that, especially in the design world, it's beyond kind of what we're exposed to in the United States. So having that experience and having that, I don't know, just that ability to learn from others that aren't, or that are outside of your normal circle, is what I wish I experienced.
One thing I can tell you that I did do that I'm happy that I did, maybe I wish I had done a little more, was take some classes completely outside of your area. And that's assuming you have the time, really. Schedule doesn't always work for that. But if you can take some classes that maybe interest you in a different subject, you're probably going to be on the other side of campus, that's okay. Highly recommend that. One of the classes I took was an acting class. And I'll tell you what, it was a tremendous outlet from what I was doing, the other part of my schedule. One class I took was a journalism class, which you wouldn't think that's not going to fit into aviation, but I'll tell you what, it helped me make me a better writer, which I wound up later in my career writing a decent amount of master plans for airport planning projects. So that would be probably my number one recommendation to you guys. Something that I wish I had done a little bit more is take a couple different classes outside of my comfort zone.
And I would add to that, back on the internship subject, don't just look around here for those. If you guys have opportunities within your major to network outside of Terre Haute or outside of the community that you're from, wherever that may be, because I'm born and raised, for good or for better or for worse, from Terre Haute and went to college here. And fortunately, I got the experience to move away right out of college. But I wish I would have probably done an internship elsewhere during my school years, or multiples if possible. I know that's not always convenient or able to do that, but it's probably one thing I would have done differently.
And sometimes students can negotiate housing for internships, especially for employers who are having a hard time getting students to come to them. So never be afraid to try to negotiate that. Okay, what about Sherman?
Our next question for you is, what are your thoughts on getting your master's degree right out of school versus getting it later on?
I'm currently working on my master's as well. But one of the things that I realized as regard getting your master's in people that I've spoke with, it's very important that you actually work in the industry and take a little bit of time to understand, because your passion might change at the beginning, So, and that's what I'm doing right now. You know, right out of school, I wanted to like stay right in school and continue doing my master's in electrical engineering. But afterward, you know, after a couple of years of experience, I realized that, okay, that's not what I want to do for the rest of my life. So it took it back a little bit to understand that instead of just focusing on, you know, solving math or doing physics for the rest of my life. So, you know, if you had a chance to actually work in the industry, year or two, you know, just learn what it is about. You can actually, you know, talk to people that have been doing it for, then you can actually move from there, what you want to do with your master's.
And is your employer paying for your master's?
Yes, they are, yeah.
Never big cost.
Yeah.
So I was basically going to say the exact same thing. To me, the on-the-job experience that you'll get, you know, there's a lot of knowledge that you're not going to get while in school that could probably help you with your master's, as well as, to me, a big benefit is, you know, when I go back for my master's, Advix is going to be paying the bill instead of me taking the bill. So to me, that's a big benefit of waiting.
And I'll kind of piggyback on what Kazim had said. It took me 7 years to go back to school to get my master's. I just finished in May with a Master of Public Administration. I think had I gone to school right out, I probably would have been inclined to get a master's that followed suit with my bachelor's in aviation. But after a couple years, I realized that I wanted a few more doors open that weren't necessarily an area that I knew. So getting more of a broad degree, it's an MPA instead of an MBA, so it's on the public side, I think complements my experience and what I had. And I don't know that I would have had that insight had I jumped right out of school.
I'm probably going to contradict a little bit. I do believe highly on further education. The uniqueness to my experience is the path that I took from a contractor and then to basically an owner's perspective. The master's degree probably wouldn't do me any good staying with the same organization. It might get me something differently and better at another company. The things from what I've learned and what our company values is we can hire the right personality and train them the technical. So you can learn a lot of things out of a book, and that's great, but real world experience is just as valuable, if not more, in some cases. And so for me, there wasn't any value because I actually considered going back afterwards. When I was 2 years in and the decline of the economy, I was like, maybe I should go back and get a safety degree or safety minor or a master's. But luckily I fit in with this organization, and we have changed our motto of not so much focusing on the technical or the degree, although those are great things, but if we find the right personality fit for our culture and the things that we look for, we can train on the technical. So I think it really just depends on your niche and what you're looking to personally accomplish.
So several things here. Money is one. Who's going to pay for it?
Absolutely.
2 is knowing really what direction you want to go. 3 is understanding if you really even need to be getting an initial education. So, and you know, there's other considerations as well, but I think those are the 3 top reasons for waiting. So, sometimes it's hard to get a job, too, if you're straight out of school with a master's degree and no experience. Does anybody else want to add something on this? I get this question from students all the time. I'm sure other faculty in here do too.
I would just add something, that it's also something important to think about looking elsewhere. Nothing against Indiana State, but there is a certain stigma in the corporate world of having a BA and a master's degree from the same program or the same university. That doesn't necessarily bode well as far as being able to be marketable outside of the niche market that Indiana State might market to. So. Nothing against IU or Purdue. So.
Okay, females in technology.
All right, I'm president of Females in Technology, and I would like to ask a question. What is the best way to negotiate for salary or benefits?
I would love for you to take this.
I love this question. Absolutely love it. Whoever thought to ask it is a smart cookie. Got some great advice for everybody here that's out looking to do that. You know, I hire people all the time, and I've had people come to the table and say, I want more money, demanding it, right? And I look at them and I say, why? and they say, well, I don't know, I want some more money. You know, that you need to come prepared to answer the question why. And with that, you know, you need to do so much research. Go out and look at the market trends for the, you know, total compensation package for the job that you're seeking. Know what, you know, the rate is in the market. Take the range and be able to say, listen, you know, I have these skills, these abilities, and I think my worth lands me right here. If that's in regards to salary, other benefits, you know, you can have those conversations. And if that doesn't get you to where you want to be, take it one step further. If they say no, you know, right now, we want to wait to see if, you know, your abilities are what we're looking at. Say, okay, I am very confident that I can meet and exceed the expectations of this job. I want to have this conversation again 6 months down the road from now. Renegotiate once I can show you that I'm worth it.
And I'll add a little bit to that from knowing, and everybody's hiring process is probably a little bit different in the timing and sequence that it happens and how many it takes to get in the door. For ours, there's typically a series of at least 2 to 3 interviews. I wouldn't make that your first question. That's my perspective. Just having had that happen to me as a hiring manager, that's not the great first impression of what you're knowing they're about. So that would be one of the things. Wait till that's the latter part of the interview. You know they're comfortable and they want and desire you, but make sure you have your information and facts in order. And I think that's a great negotiation tool.
But typically, you wait till the job's been offered to you before you negotiate salary.
I'd also like to add that you need to consider benefits package too on top of it. It's not just the dollar amount that, I mean, health insurance these days is a major benefit. I mean, so when you're thinking about a job and you offer something, look at the whole package. Don't just look at that dollar amount they're offering.
You know, I think that's a great point, and a lot of professionals out there aren't thinking about that. At my company, when we're offering somebody a promotion, you know, or a transfer that does have a pay change, we show them this whole huge formula of what per hour they actually are making, you know, with vacation, holiday, you know, every other incentive put together, you know, what their actual worth is, and it's significantly more what we're paying to employ a person versus, you know, a take-home value on just, you know, gross earnings.
Okay, construction club, you're up again.
Yeah, I'm back up. What's something you do to spice up your work life? I'll take responsibility for this question.
I think for me, what I enjoy doing is trying to find something that can possibly improve my job or my office or my team. And what I mean by that is taking on a project. And because that can do lots of different things for you. In addition to finding something that interests you, just makes the day go by a little quicker, but it shows initiative to your manager. And there's a lot to be said for that. When you've got an employer that sees that you're putting your best foot forward, that they see that you're taking the initiative to do something, not necessarily reinvent the wheel, but improve upon your job, make it a little bit better. You know, that goes a long way, I think, for any organization that you work for. And if you can find something that you enjoy, you know, all that much better to make the day go by a little quicker.
I think one thing that I think it goes back to one of the questions that you should ask your employer. One of my major questions is culture. So I think that culture has a lot to do with spicing up your work week. I work with some of my very best friends. So we go out after work and we network with people in our design community, or we go do fun things just like as a team, as a corporate team within my office, like things like that break up the just day-to-day work, kind of makes it worthwhile, in my opinion. It's just making that relationship and finding that value.
Yeah, I'm gonna add to that. I think, like she said, culture is very, very important. I've worked in places where, you know,